Okay, so we all know finding the one can be like, well, kind of like navigating a minefield, right?
Right.
You're out there looking for that lasting love, but you also want to dodge those dating disasters.
Yeah,
And today we're going deep, like really deep into those red flags.
we are.
But we're going even further than just those surface level red flags, right? Think
Yeah.
we're going to try and understand why we miss them.
Yeah, the psychology behind them. Why do we miss those warning signs even when they're so obvious?
Exactly, even when like they're right there in front of us. So how about you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I think it's about empowering yourself, right?
Okay.
It's like having this sixth sense for trouble.
Okay.
But instead of like, tingling spidey senses, you have the knowledge to protect yourself
That's a much better superpower.
from heartache and to make smarter choices about love.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's back up for a second. Let's define what we're talking about when we even say red flags in dating.
Okay, so red flags are those, think of it like those blinking warning lights on your car's dashboard.
Okay, yeah.
So, if one light kind of flickers, it might not be a big deal, right?
Right.
But when you've got like multiple lights flashing, you know it's time to pull over
Yeah.
and investigate. So these red flags in dating are like those signals, potential problems,
Okay.
whether it's toxic behavior, manipulation, or even just like, a fundamental mismatch in your values.
Gotcha. So when you're dating, how do you tell the difference between like a genuine mistake or like a forgivable thing and then a pattern of red flags?
It can be tricky because red flags disguise themselves during the honeymoon phase.
Oh, of course.
Right.
Yeah, that magical time when you're smitten and everything seems perfect.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like our brains are flooded with all those feel-good chemicals.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Making us crave those connections and overlook those issues.
Exactly.
We become, hyper-focused on the positive. And we kind of rationalize or downplay those warning signs.
Yes, minimize them.
Yeah. So it's not about us just being naive. It's like our brain chemistry is literally working against us.
It is. It really is.
But we can arm ourselves with knowledge, right?
Yes.
So let's get into some of these most common red flags that we should be aware of. What's the first one?
Okay, well, the first one might surprise you. Too perfect, too soon.
Okay.
Have you ever met someone who seemed almost too good to be true?
They stepped right out of like my dream relationship Pinterest board.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. Echoing all my interests and, showering me with affection.
That is classic love bombing.
Okay.
And it can be tricky because, who doesn't love to be showered with attention?
All right. Yeah.
But it's a manipulative tactic.
Okay.
Where someone overwhelms you to gain control.
So it's not just about enjoying the romantic gestures. It's about being aware of that potential manipulation.
Yes. And there's actually research on this. One study found that those who love bomb often lack empathy, and they have these narcissistic tendencies,
Okay. Interesting.
using this tactic to create a sense of dependency.
So how do you differentiate between genuine enthusiasm and love bombing?
It's about pacing and intensity.
Okay.
Healthy relationships, they develop gradually. Trust and connection build over time.
Right.
And so if someone is, professing their undying love after a couple dates or planning a future together,
Whoa.
that's a major red flag.
Yeah, that would freak me out.
It's about rushing the process
Gotcha.
instead of letting that genuine connection unfold.
Makes you wonder, are they really falling for now? Or are they falling for the idea of having someone to control?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a little creepy. So trust your instincts. Don't rush into anything.
That's right.
So we talked about love bombing. What about people who try to change you? Is that a red flag?
Absolutely. It's normal to have differences, right?
Right.
But early criticism, especially over seemingly trivial matters,
Yeah.
can be a warning sign.
Okay.
This type of criticism can chip away at your self-esteem,
Okay.
and it can make you feel like you need to change to be worthy of their love.
You mean like it's not just about disagreeing on like, what movie to watch? It's like those backhanded comments. Like, you're so much prettier when you wear makeup
Or why do you even bother with that hobby?
oh, yeah. Ouch.
Right.
It seems so innocent, but they can really undermine your
It's
confidence.
like they're trying to mold you into their ideal partner
Yeah.
instead of accepting you for who you are.
Not cool. Okay, speaking of acceptance, what about boundaries? How important is it to establish boundaries early on in dating?
Boundaries are essential,
Mhm.
especially in those initial stages.
Yeah.
They're the limits we set, to protect our physical, emotional, and intellectual well-being.
Yeah. So What are some examples of boundary violations in the dating world? Like, what should we be on the lookout for?
It could be anything from pushing for physical intimacy before you're ready,
Right.
demanding access to your phone, your social media accounts.
Okay.
Maybe they pressure you to share personal information you're not comfortable with,
Yeah.
or guilt trip you into spending all your free time with them.
It's not just about saying no to something you're uncomfortable with, but it's about how they react to your boundaries. It's like they're always on edge, just waiting for something to set them off.
Right.
Have you ever felt that feeling of like walking on eggshells?
This is a red flag.
Yeah, around someone, just afraid to say or do anything.
It suggests they haven't developed healthy coping mechanisms.
Okay, so it's not just about the anger itself, it's like their lack of emotional regulation.
Exactly.
Okay. What's our next red flag?
Okay, let's talk about lack of accountability.
Okay.
This is a major pitfall in any relationship. It's about taking responsibility,
Okay.
acknowledging when you've made a mistake,
Right.
and being willing to learn and grow from it.
Yeah. We're not talking about being perfect. We're talking about having the maturity to, own up to your shortcomings.
Right.
So what does this look like in like a dating context?
Well, let's say they cancel plans at the last minute, repeatedly,
Yeah.
and always blame it on outside things.
Yeah.
Or they make a hurtful comment and brush it off as a joke instead of apologizing. These are signs that they struggle with taking responsibility.
Sounds exhausting to be with someone who always deflects blame. You always feel like you're the one who has to apologize.
It can create an imbalance of power,
Okay.
leaving one person responsible for the other's emotional well-being.
All right, on to the final red flag in our gallery. Obsession with the ex. Everyone has a past, but how much is too much?
It's all about the frequency, the context, and the tone.
Okay.
If they're constantly comparing you, reminiscing about the good old days, or using their past relationship to measure your worth,
Yeah.
that's a sign they haven't moved on.
It feels like you're competing with a ghost.
Yes.
Yeah, like their ex is still somehow present.
Exactly.
What should you do if you notice it's happening?
Talk about it. Express your concerns and observe their reaction. Do they acknowledge your feelings?
Yeah.
Or do they dismiss your concerns and continue to dwell on the past?
Their response is a lot
It does.
about whether they're emotionally mature and ready for a new relationship.
Yeah.
Wow, we've definitely seen a lot of red flags. But why do we ignore those warning signs?
Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it?
It's like sometimes it feels like I'm willingly walking into a trap.
Well, I think one of the reasons is we have a deep-seated fear of loneliness.
Oh, okay.
We're social creatures, right?
Right.
We're wired for connection. So the thought of being alone can be so daunting that we'll settle.
Yeah. For a less than ideal situation.
To avoid being alone.
So we tell ourselves, at least I'm not alone, even if the relationship is not really fulfilling.
Right, exactly.
But, I mean, is it really better to be in a bad relationship than to be single?
Well, that's a question everyone has to answer for themselves.
True.
But there is research that shows staying in an unhappy or unhealthy relationship can really affect you negatively,
Gotcha.
impact our mental and emotional well-being.
So it's important to remember that being single can be a time for growth and self-discovery.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, it's not a waiting room for a relationship.
It's not. It's valuable.
It's a valuable chapter in its own right.
Okay.
But honestly, sometimes those initial sparks, like the attraction, can really blindside you.
Yeah.
How does that chemistry affect our ability to see those red flags?
Well, remember those feel-good chemicals?
Oh, yeah, you talked about that.
The dopamine?
Yes.
And oxytocin.
Yeah. The love hormone.
That's right. Those were behind that rush of attraction we feel.
So, I mean, we're literally under the influence.
We are.
No wonder our critical thinking skills take a hit.
Yes. Love is blind.
But is there more to it than just the chemistry?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What else makes us ignore those red flags?
Low self-worth can be a big factor.
Okay.
If you don't think you deserve respect, kindness, and love, you're more likely to accept poor treatment.
That's sad.
Yeah. You might even rationalize their bad behavior.
Oh, telling yourself you're not good enough.
You start to think you don't deserve anything better.
So we need to say no to disrespect and say yes to our own worth.
I love that.
Yeah.
It is about recognizing our own worthiness.
Yeah.
When we value ourselves, we set healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
And then we're less likely to tolerate behavior that diminishes us.
So we've got fear of loneliness, intense chemistry,
Uh-huh.
low self-worth, anything
And
else.
there's one more. We can't forget the I can change them syndrome.
Oh, yeah, like the fixer-upper fantasy.
That's
I mean,
right.
we've all seen those movies.
Exactly. The bad boy with a heart of gold.
Yeah, yeah. Just waiting for the right person to unlock their potential.
Yeah.
But realistically, can people really change?
Well, people can grow and change,
Yeah.
but lasting change,
Yeah.
it has to come from within.
Right. Not because someone else wants them to.
That's right.
Trying to force someone to change,
Yeah,
that just leads to frustration and resentment.
it does. So instead of focusing on changing them, it's important to choose someone
Mm.
who's already aligned with those values and goals.
So accept them for who they are, not who you want them to be.
Exactly.
Sounds like recognizing these red flags and understanding why we ignore them requires a lot of self-awareness.
It does, yeah. It's about understanding your own patterns,
Okay.
tendencies, and even issues that might be attracting us to unhealthy relationships.
Gotcha. Why we might be ignoring those red flags.
So it's not about blaming yourself.
Right.
It's about learning from those experiences.
Right. Okay, so this self-reflection, it sounds like it's an ongoing process.
It is. Self-discovery is a lifelong journey,
Okay.
and dating can be a really great catalyst
Okay.
for that growth. You learn about your needs and boundaries
Mhm.
and what you really value.
Yeah. So even if a relationship doesn't work out, you can still walk away with a clearer sense
Of yourself.
of yourself and what you want,
This leads us to the last part of our deep dive.
where we talk about non-negotiables. So we talked about red flags, we talked about why we ignore them, and now it's time to talk about non-negotiables.
Yes, exactly. They're game changers.
Okay, so tell me, what are we talking about here? Like, what are non-negotiables?
Well, you can think of non-negotiables like your personal relationship constitution.
Okay,
They're your values, beliefs, needs. You absolutely will not compromise on these.
gotcha. So we're talking about more than just like, those surface level preferences, like, someone who likes to travel or, enjoys the same music as me.
Right.
Deeper than that.
Yes. It's about those core values, the foundation of a strong and fulfilling connection.
Okay, so we're really talking about those deal breakers.
Yes.
The things that make or break the relationship. So it could be anything from honesty,
Yes. Honesty, respect,
respect,
emotional maturity,
shared values.
communication style.
Yeah, even like how you approach conflict, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so it sounds like we're creating a blueprint for like our ideal relationship.
You are.
So where do we begin?
Well, I think it all starts with self-reflection.
Okay.
Take some time and think about what's really important. Ask yourself, what are those qualities that I absolutely need to feel happy and respected and fulfilled?
So no more settling.
No more settling.
No more hoping someone's going to change.
No. You deserve to be with someone who aligns with your core values. Don't be afraid to set high standards.
But what about when those butterflies show up and you get all like those intense feelings that sometimes makes you kind of throw logic out the window?
Yeah, those love hormones.
Yeah, yeah. How do you stay true to yourself?
I think that's where mindfulness comes in.
Okay.
Staying grounded. You can even have like a mental checklist of your non-negotiables. And then you could check in and ask yourself, does this person align with what I value?
Oh, I like that, like a relationship compass.
Exactly. Are they meeting my needs? Am I honoring my boundaries?
Okay, so it's not about controlling someone else, it's about respecting yourself.
Exactly. Setting healthy boundaries.
It sounds empowering,
It is.
but it also sounds kind of challenging.
It can be, yeah. Especially if you're really attracted to someone. But remember, walking away from a situation that doesn't align with those non-negotiables,
Yeah.
that's self-love.
It's about choosing to invest your time in relationships that could really work.
Exactly.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I have a whole new perspective. It's not just about finding someone, it's about finding the right someone.
Absolutely. The person who respects you meets your needs.
Yeah. So as we wrap up our deep dive, what's like one action step our listeners can take
Yeah.
for like start using this?
Okay, here's a challenge. Get a piece of paper or open up your notes app.
Mm-hmm.
Write down your top 3 non-negotiables.
Okay.
The qualities you absolutely will not compromise on.
Okay.
Keep that list somewhere you can see it,
Mm.
maybe on your bathroom mirror, or a reminder on your phone. And let those non-negotiables be your guide as you navigate this exciting, sometimes confusing world of dating.
That's such a great exercise. Like giving ourselves permission to prioritize our needs. And remember, you are worthy of a love that honors those non-negotiables. A love that makes you feel seen, respected, and cherished. Until next time, happy dating.